Welcome to the Week in the Weird. I'm Sarah.
I'm Selena, and for our first episode, we want to share a very brief timeline of our involvement with the Boston movement and the International Churches of Christ. This way, you know where we're coming from and how we know much of what we know. So, in 1987, we lived in a small town near Atlanta, Georgia, with our parents. At the time, we were a family of five. There was me, Selena, Sarah, our brother Frank, and our parents. Our whole family attended the local Methodist church, and we'd always gone to church together as a family. Our mom's doctor invited her to his church, the Atlanta Highlands Church of Christ, and the three of us started attending Highlands with our mom. Dad kept attending the Methodist church, and he really did not like mom's choice of a new church. That summer, the friends our mom had made at Highlands told her that they were going to be meeting for church in the ballroom of an Atlanta hotel. Mom didn't know it at the time, but a group from the Boston Church of Christ had been sent to reconstruct the Highlands Church. It was essentially a hostile takeover. Mom's friends were among the people who broke away from the Highlands Church and started attending the Atlanta Church of Christ, so Mom went with them and we went with her. When this happened, I was 12, Sarah was 9, and Frank was 7 years old. So the Atlanta church was part of the Boston movement, which was later renamed the International Church of Christ. The group believed that in order to be saved, a person had to become a committed disciple and then be baptized. This involved a process of completing a predefined series of Bible studies, committing yourself completely to the church, and being assigned a discipler, a more mature church member who you were expected to report to daily. As kids in the group approached their teenage years, they were pressured to study the Bible and become disciples. So, as each of us became teenagers, that's what we did. During this time, Dad was really very strongly opposed to the church, and there was a lot of turmoil in our house. Dad saw through the love bombing and brainwashing, and he would call the church snake kissers and other names that let us know he thought we were in a cult. I stayed in the group until the end of my freshman year in college and then left for several years and then went back to the group.
I left and came back multiple times, and Frank stayed in the group through his teens and early 20s. So gradually between 1987 and 1993, the husbands of Mom's church friends, who were at that point her only friends, developed relationships with our dad. So in 1993, our mom gave birth to our little sister, and both mom and our little sister almost died during the birth. And going through that traumatic experience created an opening for Dad to be converted. So he studied the Bible and was baptized into the Atlanta Church of Christ in 1993. And by 1997, Selena was back in the group.
Mm-hmm.
In early 2002, I was back in for my final time. In 2003, a leader in the church released a letter that detailed the abuses that leaders had committed over the years, and the ICOC had a meltdown. Our eyes were open to truths, some of which we'd known deep down, and others which were actually surprising. And we finally began thinking critically, asking questions, and seeing things more clearly than ever before. By 2005, all the members of our family had left the group. We've spent the years since then coming to grips with our experiences in the group and putting our lives back together. Selena and I came up with the idea of doing this podcast in the fall of 2022, and here we are. We were part of the International Churches of Christ in Atlanta from beginning to end. We heard Kip McKean speak. We had experiences with many of the lead evangelists and other leaders over the years, and we suffered through all the decisions that Kip made. We're here to share our personal experiences, tell our stories, help people who have never been in the cult to understand it better, and to let anyone who was or is in know that you're not alone.
That's it.